Welcome back to The Historian. Tonight, we look at the Midnight Sculptors, the hidden guilds that shaped humanity's monuments under stars. As the sun dipped below the horizon in ancient civilizations, a unique group of artisans emerged to apply their craft under the cloak of night. These were the Nocturnal Sculptors, skilled craftsmen driven by the challenges and mysteries that only the moonlit hours could provide. In the ancient city of Mesopotamia, a place where the first seeds of civilization were planted, these nighttime artisans took to the streets. The city was alive with the sound of hammers softly tapping against stone when most of its inhabitants slept. You see, the cooler night air provided a favorable environment for the arduous task of carving stone, preserving energy and concentration for these dedicated workers. The emergence of nocturnal artisans was also due to the dual nature of work requirements. During the day, stonemasons were often part of larger construction projects overseen by rulers or religious leaders. Their daytime efforts were usually dedicated to erecting mighty structures and walls that defined the burgeoning cities. Nighttime, however, was when individual creativity flourished, away from the rigid oversight of daytime supervisors. Under the starlight, artisans experimented with new techniques and forms, indulging in aesthetics that were not always appreciated under the harsh scrutiny of the sun. In Egypt, where the monumental pyramids cast shadows across the sands, nocturnal work was considered not only practical but also essential. During the construction of these imposing structures, it was common for the finest craftsmen to work after dusk. The cooler temperatures of night were perfect for mixing and setting the lime and gypsum plaster used to cover surfaces. This allowed for smoother textures and precise carvings that would not have been possible during the scorching heat of the day. These artisans often relied on torchlight and the soft glow of the moon to guide their chisels. From Egypt, let's glide over to ancient Greece, where the Acropolis lit up the night sky with its architectural wonders. Here, sculptors embraced the silence of night as a tranquil background for focusing on their intricate designs. The famed sculptors of ancient Greece, known for their lifelike statues, often took advantage of the natural calm that night provided. This was a time deeply respected, where the absence of disruption allowed artisans to refine their methods and put the finishing touches on works that would become famed worldwide. As we move further east, into the heart of China's dynasties, we uncover another layer of this nocturnal craft. During the Han Dynasty, artisans were known for their advancements in bronze casting and intricate jade carving. The revered nighttime hours were particularly conducive to delicate work, like the detailed etchings in bronze or jade. Here, the pale glow of night served not as a hindrance but as an inspiration, lending an ethereal quality to the minutely detailed pieces created. The emergence of nocturnal artisans was not simply a matter of environmental convenience or artistic pursuit, but rather a confluence of opportunity and necessity across cultures. Whether dictated by climate, tradition, or social norms, working at night offered these sculptors a unique space to thrive. It encouraged a guild of craftsmen who not only shaped architectural marvels and iconic sculptures, but also innovations that were shared across generations. As the community of night artisans grew, so did their reputation. The knowledge they developed under the stars was passed down the generations through verbal lore and apprenticeship. This tradition would eventually carve out its niche in society, recognized for its invaluable contributions to the enduring wonders that continue to captivate us today. Keep these timeless artisans in mind as we wander through the corridors of history, where others, too, have crafted legends and shaped civilizations under the cover of night. Soon, we'll explore how their techniques evolved and how their legacy carried into the more recent chapters of artistry and architecture. As the night embraced the ancient lands, a landscape of artistry quietly unfolded beneath the twinkling stars. Across diverse civilizations, the tools and techniques employed by these nighttime artisans were as varied as the stars themselves, each lending a unique shape to the human story. In these moonlit hours, The tools of the trade were both practical and innovative, making the challenges of nighttime art surmountable. In the dim glow of the Mesopotamian streets, one could see the essential hammer and chisel at work. These rudimentary tools were complemented by the introduction of the bow drill, allowing for greater precision in creating intricate details. The bow drill, a staple in ancient toolkits, excelled at boring holes in stone and wood, providing artisans with the ability to carve complex patterns. The drill's rhythmic dance under the night sky was often illuminated by oil lamps, which offered a steady flame even in the softest of breezes. Transferring our gaze to the twilight-draped landscapes of ancient Egypt, where stone and metal met under artisan hands. Here, copper and bronze chisels, though simple, were standard instruments in shaping the hard stone surfaces. The Egyptians also utilized polishing stones to refine the smoothness of limestone veneers applied to their monumental works. During these cooler night hours, wet sand was used alongside these polishing stones to achieve a gleaming finish, a process painstakingly cherished by artisans who sought perfection in every detail. Crossing the Mediterranean into ancient Greece, the sculptors there devised clever techniques to counteract the challenges of their nocturnal workspace. Notably, Greek artisans crafted mallets from olive wood, valued for its resilience and unique ability to withstand heavy use without damaging the stone. They placed a distinct emphasis on relief work, where images stood out against a backdrop, and employed pointed chisels to add depth and texture to their iconic statues. In China, during the Han Dynasty, artisans were known for their mastery over bronze, a medium that required extraordinary skill. Nighttime provided the perfect opportunity to conduct the long, controlled processes of cooling and casting required for large bronze pieces. Artisans utilized clay molds and thin wax sheets to prepare intricate bronzes. As night fell, the consistency of temperature helped prevent rapid cooling that could lead to flaws, ensuring the integrity and longevity of these works. Crafting tools was as much a part of the artistic process as using them. Across cultures, artisans often made their own tools, adapting them to suit specific needs and projects. This not only honed their skills but also fostered innovation, leading to a gradual improvement in techniques over centuries. By making subtle adjustments and additions, these craftsmen balanced between tradition and custom ingenuity. While tools were integral, they were only half of the equation. Techniques honed during the night were just as important, if not more so. Carving under starlight demanded immense concentration and care. Artisans developed methods to measure and proportion their work in the dark, often employing string lines and wooden frames. This provided a guide for symmetry and scale, especially for larger pieces. The moon itself was frequently utilized as a tool, its shifting light casting natural shadows on stone surfaces, revealing imperfections invisible in the harshness of daylight. This celestial guide aided in highlighting angles and curves, guiding the hand with the precision that only time and experience could muster. As we wander further into the depths of history, these night-specific tools and techniques formed the backbone of an informal yet influential guild of nocturnal workers. They not only overcame the limits of natural light, but thrived despite them, creating enduring monuments that still echo through centuries. The legacy of these midnight sculptors stretches far into the mortar and marble of modern innovation, a testament to the quiet, persistent drive of artistry pursued under the solemn gaze of the stars. From the artisans chiseling away in their torchlit workshops to the sculptors molding metal with timeless patience, their craft became an allure that the sun could never overshadow. Our journey with these starlit crafts continues. We shall soon explore the intricate artisan communities that nurtured such talent, and how these groups fostered an exchange of ideas, techniques, and artistic wisdom that traveled through generations and across continents. In the quiet hours when the world slumbers, a time of serene creation begins for those who craft with stone and passion in the glow of the moon. This peculiar practice, known as lunar stonework, reveals the commitment of artisans who harness the tranquility of night to shape history's monuments. Our journey tonight takes us through the stone-laden paths of these craftsmen, whose silent hands carved beauty under the stars. Venture first to the rugged lands of the early Celts in what is now modern-day Ireland and Scotland. Here, stonemasons were guided by the soft luminescence of the moon, embracing its glow to balance shadow and form on the standing stones and cairns. These figures, often arrayed in ceremonial landscapes, were believed to serve not only as grave markers or territorial symbols, but also as astronomical tools. By night, the meticulous placement of these stones allowed them to align with lunar cycles, offering a celestial calendar crafted in rock. Now drift over to the mysterious moors of England, where the famed Stonehenge continues to intrigue minds. While the eclipse has often been highlighted, the role of moonlight in its construction is equally compelling. Night after night, with the aid of reflective surfaces and strategic torch placements, builders refined the sarsen stones, ensuring that not only sun, but also the cycles of the moon were considered in their alignment. These strategic choices led to structures that didn't just stand against time, but also participated actively in the celestial dance above. Travel onward to the Andes of South America, where the Inca embraced the night's chill at Machu Picchu. Here, under the cover of night, stonemasons worked tirelessly to produce the perfect fit of stones that would form its magnificent terraces and temples. The builders' awareness of lunar patterns and their effects on tides and stability of structures was critical. Working in the shadows, they crafted a city that harmonized with the surrounding mountain range and sky, demonstrating a keen understanding of celestial forces impacting architectural stability. Across the globe in Japan, nighttime craftsmanship found harmony in the construction of ancient Shikoku temples. Builders meticulously aligned their shrines with starlit paths observable only once the sun set. The building materials, including smoothly polished stones and carefully measured wooden beams, were selected and pieced together in the light of the moon to ensure purity and precision. The dedication evidenced in their work reflected an intrinsic respect for the quietude and clarity that the lunar light bestowed. If you are finding peace in these archives, remember to subscribe to join us on the next journey. As you linger with these midnight builders, feel the steady rhythm of their work flow seamlessly from one age to another, from one culture to the next. Settling into the Middle East, the majestic city of Persepolis rises under our gaze. The men who built this monumental heart of the Persian Empire did so by channeling the cool calm of nighttime hours into their intricate carvings. The immortal bas-reliefs of kings and deities were born from the synergy of skill and silence, each chiseled blow a careful consideration guided by nocturnal intuition. Here, shadows helped in perfecting the depth and precision required for expressing power and divinity in stone. In the stillness spread across these various lands, one notes that the night, far from being a time of rest, was one of awakening for creativity and tradition. Lunar stonework was not simply a matter of darkness, but woven into the night were profound elements of science and understanding, blending earthly activity with celestial inspiration. As we conclude this passage through the pathways of nocturnal stonework, remember the hands that labored under the starlit skies. Their contributions transcend stone, speaking quietly through the ages with echoes of ingenuity and spirit. Let your mind wander forward to where the wonders of night-led craftsmanship continue to intertwine with human history, awaiting the dawn of new stories in the chapters yet to unfold. In the shadowed corridors of ancient settings, the formation of secret societies among guilds introduced a fascinating layer to our understanding of historical craftsmanship. These guilds, initially established as a means of survival against the uncertainties of the time, soon grew into powerful entities that wielded influence over the arts, architecture, and politics. They operated under the guise of tradition, respect, and shared knowledge, yet their exact origins and secrets remain elusive, draped in the symbolic language and rituals of the few who belonged. Our journey begins in ancient Mesopotamia, often regarded as the cradle of civilization. Here, the builders and artisans who plied their trade under the guise of darkness began to develop networks that resembled early forms of guilds. These early organizations provided mutual support and protection against unpredictable factors such as theft, invasions, and even the whims of temperamental rulers. In such uncertain times, craftsmen found safety in numbers, their social bonds fortified by their shared commitment to mastering their craft. Moving across the Mediterranean to ancient Egypt, the organization of workers, particularly those involved in monumental projects like the pyramids, was of paramount importance. Skilled laborers, often coordinated by scribes and overseers, formed early kinship groups based on trade and craft. These guilds not only facilitated the sharing of techniques and knowledge, but also ensured that the craftsmen's skills were preserved and passed on to future generations. They cultivated a shared identity, integrating rituals that underscored their unity and set them apart, defining their role in constructing history's grandest monuments. In Greece, the rise of city-states, or polis, saw a proliferation of artisan communities that banded together to form more structured guilds. These groups embraced collective learning, which allowed the transference of complex skills necessary for the construction of sacred sites and sculptures that were the pride of their people. They communicated through symbols and coded language as a means to transfer not just skill, but also status and allegiance to the collective narrative of their city-state. As we progress eastward, entering the vibrant tapestry of the Indian subcontinent, we find evidence of highly sophisticated guilds among artisans during the Mauryan Empire. These guilds were vital not only in terms of economic influence, but also as holders of technical wisdom that was often guarded and shared selectively. They participated in the crafting of religious stupas and stonework that formed the heart of pilgrimage paths, fusing artistry with devotion. In China, during the Zhou dynasty, craftsmanship was both family and trade-oriented. Stepping into the Han dynasty, guild-like structures furthered integration among metalworkers, potters, and builders. Artisans here recognized the advantages of secrecy, especially in preserving trade maps and techniques that were exclusive to their groups. The stories of these guilds often include elements of mystique and legends that elevate their historical contributions. The very nature of these secret societies drew from the belief that the knowledge and skill passed down were a precious legacy. Membership in these guilds carried with it not only technical proficiency, but also an understanding of the symbolic world that surrounded their trade. Members were frequently bound by a code of conduct and shared rituals, reinforcing a powerful sense of belonging and respect for their craft. Through the whispering passage of time, these ancient guilds were not merely concerned with the preservation of technique, but were entwined with the guardianship of sociocultural power. They acted as mediators between worlds, a bridge across the pragmatic demands of humanity and the transcendent aspirations of art and spirit. As the secrets of night were etched into stone, so too were the secrets of these guilds inscribed across the chapters of history. Looking toward the horizon, the influence of these ancient societies forged pathways that helped shape and nurture the era of craftsmanship that followed. Each step into the future carries echoes of these guilds' legacy, propelling us to further explore how such organizations continue to evolve and influence the societies they were enmeshed in. Let us step forward into the unknown, where their stories linger, ready to unfold in further chronicles of human ingenuity and fraternity. In the hushed elegance of the Italian Renaissance, an undercurrent of innovation flowed through the streets and workshops. By day, Florence and Rome echoed with the sounds of bustling commerce and politics, but as dusk descended, a different hum of activity began. Artisans, builders, and thinkers who longed for less distraction found solace in the night. This period, known as the Nocturnal Renaissance, marked a significant shift in the way creativity was expressed under starlit skies. During this time, the demand for elaborate architecture burgeoned. By the 15th and 16th centuries, cities such as Florence had embraced the birth of humanism and artistic revival. Here, night provided an escape from the oppressively busy and often noisy daylight hours. Nocturnal builders took this time to refine their designs and execute detailed elements of such projects that celebrated the human form and divine geometries. The renowned architect Filippo Brunelleschi, famed for engineering the dome of Florence's cathedral, is said to have spent many a night working tirelessly under the cover of darkness. His nocturnal efforts were pivotal in structuring the world's largest brick dome, with innovative machines and methods that challenged the engineering norms of that era. Further down the cobbled streets, the genius artist and inventor Leonardo da Vinci was another nighttime visionary. Although he was not primarily a builder, his influence on nocturnal work during the Renaissance cannot be overstated. Da Vinci, known for his relentless curiosity, often worked long into the night, sketching his revolutionary designs for buildings and machinery in the dim light of oil lamps. In Rome, illuminated by the moonlight reflecting off marbled monuments, stonemasons sculpted under a thoughtful silence. The transformation of the Vatican City into a beacon of Renaissance thought was partly due to such artisans, who labored after dark to complete the intricate details of cathedrals and basilicas. Their nighttime work allowed uninterrupted focus, free from the interruptions that populated their waking hours. Night work was not confined to mere construction. Italy's nocturnal renaissance extended to innovations in lighting itself, which enabled night work to improve efficacy. The use of mirrored surfaces and improved oil lamps enhanced the light artisans had available at night. Streets in some parts of cities were begrudgingly lit to facilitate the safe return home of those leaving their nighttime tasks. As society began to appreciate the genius emerging from night work, small communities of artisans grew. These groups, often identifiers through whispered affiliations, allowed sharing of ideas from one craftsman to the next. This bridging of knowledge ensured that the techniques honed when the world slept did not remain the secret of a solitary mind, but instead infused the collective brilliance of Renaissance achievements. The nocturnal Renaissance was, at its heart, about more than just the work completed after sundown. It represented a dual shift, where the art form found new expression in the contrast between light and shadow, and where society began to see the hidden benefits of thoughtfully spent nighttime hours. The masterpieces simmering under the cover of night were becoming tangible by day, lending an indelible legacy to the architectural canvases of towns and cities. The power of the midnight craftsman reached far, instilling a newfound clarity and value in night work, much like the ever-shifting stars above. As day breaks the night, the lasting impacts of these artisans' efforts invite us to appreciate the delicate balance between light and dark that defines both art and existence. As we prepare to move forward, our journey shall soon explore how this distinct appreciation for nocturnal work continued beyond the Renaissance and evolved into the modern era, carrying with it centuries of wisdom and silent perseverance. As twilight descended over bustling towns in the heart of the Renaissance, a group of artisans emerged, their minds sharp and hands deft from years of practice beneath the canvas of the night sky. These masters of dark, as they might have been known, reveled in the unique combination of solitude and concentration that nighttime offered. In these quieter hours, when the distractions of the day faded away, craftsmanship reached its apex. Artisans gathered in dimly lit workshops, often found on the fringes of these thriving cities, where the sounds of hammers and chisels continued well past evening curfews. By candlelight and the occasional glow of oil lamps, they devoted themselves to their sculptures, every stroke of the tool calculated and precise. The night allowed for meticulous work on frescoes and mosaics, which required months of unyielding dedication. Details that would otherwise remain hidden in the chaotic energy of day were carefully brought out, ensuring precision that would stand the test of time. In the glow of lanterns, they refined angles and perfected surfaces, a testament to their patience and skill. An artisan's routine was an intriguing dance between the limitations of lighting and the expanded mind that darkness brought about. Many of these sculptors preferred to carve and mold at night, a time when the roots of commerce and governance lay silent. It was during these nocturnal hours that innovative techniques were given life. These included new methods for creating lifelike textures, surfaces smooth as marble, and anatomical precision that was unsurpassed. The choice to work under a star-studded sky was both a practical decision and a deep-seated tradition passed through generations of guild members. Often, these masters believed that the moonlit hours imbued their work with a subtle quality that mirrored the silence and patience found only in nature's stillest moments. The tools of the time, while rudimentary by today's standards, were optimal for the tasks at hand, adapted meticulously for use in maintaining focus and control in low-light conditions. These included finely honed chisels and mallets that could maneuver detailed surfaces, allowing an artist's vision to come to tangible fruition. Outside their workshops, the air was often filled with the cool embrace of a gentle breeze, a welcome comfort after the hot Tuscan days. This cooler climate not only allowed for relief in bodily labor, but also preserved the materials they worked with, such as the plaster used in frescoes that required controlled conditions to dry evenly. As part of their tradition, many sculptors followed intricate rituals before beginning their work at night, ceremonial acts that linked them spiritually to their ancestors and the ancient sculptors who came before them. They held these practices not only as a commitment to their craft, but as a reflection of respect and the continuous flow of artistry through ages. The life cycle of these sculptures often began long before the first chip of stone fell away under the stonemason's tools and extended well after the final polish was applied. As night turned to day, the finished pieces, shrouded in the mysteries of their nocturnal origin, stood testament to the diligence and passion of those who dared to work while others slept. The legacy of these masters of dark stretches beyond their enchanting works, influencing numerous future generations of artisans and guilds. They have set a precedent for dedication and creativity, proving that, sometimes, the brightest creations emerge from the gentle embrace of darkness. As we leave these artisans at their nightlit benches, their narrative weaves us toward the influence of these nighttime practices. Soon, we will uncover how these nocturnal traditions influenced broader communities and led to widespread cultural transformations, painting a broader picture of artistry entwined with the shadows of history. Under the vast night skies of history, a hidden book lay open in the diligent hands of those who worked beneath the stars. Their efforts, documented by quills and ink, chronicled the labors that often went unnoticed by the common people, the artisans and builders who dedicated themselves to nocturnal pursuits. These celestial chronicles serve as a testament to the industriousness and creativity that arose after sunset, capturing the spirit and techniques of those who quietly shaped monuments and legacies by moonlight. To uncover the depths of these chronicles, we first look to the meticulous records kept by guilds across continents. In ancient Rome, the Acta Diurna, or daily acts, although primarily a daytime record, did occasionally note the significant works completed during the quieter night hours. These writings give us insight into tasks that required uninterrupted focus, often linked to the construction of prominent structures like arches and monuments that seem to rise from the ground almost magically overnight. In the medieval period, monastic scribes played a crucial role in preserving the knowledge of nocturnal endeavors. These scribes, nestled in the cool, dim light of their scriptoria, diligently copied manuscripts by candlelight. Their handwritten volumes included detailed observations of the men who crafted under the stars, offering a valuable glimpse into the methods and motivations behind their works. The monastic repositories, rich with these records, spread not only religious texts, but also the knowledge of artisans' nocturnal activities across Europe. Moving to the Middle East, the influence of the Islamic Golden Age cannot be understated. The city of Baghdad under the Abbasid Caliphate was a beacon of learning and art. Here, The Beit al-Hikmah, or House of Wisdom, served as a center for intellectual exchange, where scholars discussed everything from mathematics to philosophy, and artisans were influenced by the ideas they exchanged. Chronicles from this period reveal how Muslim artisans employed geometry and astronomy to perfect their craft, especially within the architectural triumphs like mosques, whose delicate works often carried the touch of night solitude and the insights gleaned from celestial studies. In the heart of Africa, the ancient manuscripts of Timbuktu reveal the legacy of nighttime laborers who wove knowledge into architecture. As artisans and builders created structures that stood as both practical and symbolic edifices, they recorded their practices in leather-bound volumes. These volumes, safeguarded through generations, not only highlight the projects completed during the cooler hours, but also reflect the tranquil collaboration between artisans under the cloak of night. In India, the Vijayanagara Empire stands as a testament to the grandeur sculpted during evening hours. Written in stone and ancient texts, references document the tasks carried out during the calm of night, building temple complexes and crafting intricate stone carvings in harmony with the celestial bodies above. These documents bear witness to the sophistication and planning that nighttime work required, revealing a rhythm that synchronizes with the realm of stars and dreams. These celestial chronicles paint a portrait of a world where the quiet night was an ally to creativity, bolstering a tradition of secretive yet significant work. As recorders of history's whispers etched their observations, they helped cast light on the often overlooked dedication and skill cultivated when the sun set. The narratives within these documents allow us to piece together an image of the coordination and artistry that defined a multitude of civilizations and epochs. Moving forward, our forthcoming exploration will delve into the convergence between these historical records and the artistic communities that propagated them. Together, they forged a legacy of shared knowledge and innovation, weaving stories of civilization's rise and the perennial quest for harmony between humanity and the cosmos. In the twilight hours of history, the hidden guilds emerged as influential guardians of craftsmanship, cloaked in secrecy yet wielding considerable power. These guilds, operating across various civilizations, were more than just collectives of skilled artisans. They were pivotal in shaping not only art but also society as a whole. Their influence stretched like shadows beyond the workshops, touching the political and economic spheres of the worlds they inhabited. In ancient Egypt, the power of the guilds lay in their ability to organize large groups of artisans for massive state projects like the construction of pyramids. These guilds acted as hubs of specialized knowledge and skill, ensuring that monumental undertakings could be accomplished with precision. The organized labor also wielded influence over the resources allocated for such grand edifices, impacting economic decisions at the state level. Shifting to ancient Greece, the guilds within city-states like Athens were instrumental in the construction of their unforgettable temples and sculptures. They held sway over public works, influencing civic pride and cultural identity. These artisan groups were organized to maintain standards and consistency across projects, preserving the Greek aesthetic that has echoed through time. As the Roman Empire expanded, its guilds evolved into powerful factions that could sway market trends and public policy. Known as collegia, these guilds were sanctioned by the state and often tasked with public duties, such as the building of aqueducts and roads, which were crucial to the empire's infrastructure and military success. Their control over skilled labor resources gave them leverage in negotiations with political leaders, granting them a degree of economic influence uncommon for working-class groups. In the East, Chinese guilds known as Huiguan played a similar role in the burgeoning cities of the empire. During the Tang and Song dynasties, these guilds often operated schools and published texts on the finer points of craftsmanship, wielding intellectual power and contributing to cultural advancements. Much like their Western counterparts, these guilds had the capacity to affect policy decisions, especially those relating to trade and urban development. Across the seas in the Americas, the the hidden guilds of the Incan Empire bore the weight of building cities like Machu Picchu. They held the knowledge of the Andes' natural cycles, using this to guide agricultural and architectural practices that supported their society. Their mastery over stonework and alignment with celestial events allowed them to create structures that have amazed historians both then and now. The power wielded by these guilds often extended beyond sheer economic clout. Their esoteric rituals and the passage of knowledge through generations fostered a sense of community and identity. Membership was coveted and earned through demonstrated skill and trustworthiness, a gateway to both social esteem and spiritual satisfaction. Through secrecy and the selective sharing of knowledge, these guilds preserved their techniques while nurturing an internal culture of innovation. This environment fostered incremental improvements in artistry and technology, ensuring that cultural heritages and trades survived the tides of time. These craftspeople, in their veiled activities, not only maintained the standards of their arts but advanced them, quietly cementing their place in the monolithic history that we still admire today. As the tendrils of influence stretch outward from these hidden guilds, their impact is seen in the thriving blend of creativity and power. This symbiosis between art and structure, knowledge and secrecy, forms a fascinating counterpart to our modern understanding of guilds and organizations. As we transition to exploring the next chapter of Nocturnal Crafts, remember how these hidden guilds, with their silent influence, paved the way for the expansion of artistry and innovation that remains at the heart of civilization's evolution. As the discoveries of ancient civilization reveal themselves to us, remnants of the Midnight Sculptors' world come to light not only in the shadows of their monumental creations, but also buried beneath layers of time. Archaeology, the science of unearthing what was once hidden, plays a vital role in illuminating the past, offering us glimpses into the secret lives led by these artisans who worked by the glow of the moon. Imagine the scene under the sands of Egypt where powerful structures such as tombs and temples have been uncovered, revealing carvings and inscriptions that add depth to our understanding of their creators' nocturnal efforts. Archaeologists have found evidence of artisan workshops situated near the pyramids, equipped with tools specially suited for precise nighttime work. Painted fragments, broken chisels, and torch remnants offer a narrative of craftsmen who labored during the cooler, quieter hours. In Greece, the Acropolis stands as testament to human ingenuity, but it's the discoveries in its surrounding areas that speak of the guilds who sculpted during the night. Excavations have unearthed sculpting tools and small fragments of marble near these ancient workshops. This detritus tells a story of artisans who carefully chipped away under the stars to perfect the marble gods and heroes that loomed large during daylight hours. These findings hint at organized groups, working in concert to fulfill both civic duties and personal artistic ambitions. The rich soil of China's Han Dynasty has given us profound insights. Digging into the burial sites unearthed enticing relics, especially the ornate jade and intricate bronzes of the Han artisans, many with patterns suggestive of meticulous work under low-light conditions. Archaeologists believe the precision seen in such minute detailing could have benefited greatly from the reduced distractions during night hours, guided by only torchlight. The discoveries of workshops in ancient Xi'an bolster the notion that these artisans were not only resourceful but innovative, marrying utility with artful luxury. Yet, it is perhaps the Celtic lands where archaeology provides one of the most poetic understandings of nighttime labor. Standing stones in circles like Stonehenge aren't just a testament to prehistoric engineering, but also offer clues about their alignment with lunar events. Tools and pottery fragments found on excavation hinted at long-forgotten ritual processes carried out under the watchful gaze of the moon, as building these circles required keen understanding of cycles that were more apparent by night. The high peaks and concealed history of Machu Picchu continue to astonish, with archaeologists finding hidden corridors and terraced fields that speak of a civilization truly in tune with nighttime creation. Miscellaneous tools and hidden chambers found here reinforce the idea that Incas maximized the nightly respite, which provided cooler work conditions and a spiritual lens through which to achieve architectural perfection. From buried temples in Cambodia's Angkor Wat to the forest-covered ruins of Mesoamerica, each archaeological discovery illuminates a fragment of how nighttime guilds wielded their talents. When researchers unearthed remnants of torchlit workshops and artisan tools, they envision how these hidden guilds harnessed the darkness to embolden creativity and achieve architectural wonders, ambitions rivaled only by the storied legends of their times. Each dig site and recovered artifact expands our understanding of how the world looked millennia ago. These guilds, though shrouded by time and secrecy, continue to offer us insights into their cultural and technological advancements. Their legacy is not only recorded in history, but also etched in the very artifacts that archaeologists painstakingly uncover. Through the diligent excavation, we gather a richer understanding of the quiet hours that gave birth to humanity's most enduring monuments. As we brush the dust from past centuries, these discoveries are an invitation to delve deeper into how night sculptors shaped societies across eras. Let us prepare to explore how these realized masterpieces became legends, reverberating through time, as they seamlessly bridge into the unfolding stories of legacy yet to be told. As cities lay in the embrace of night, a landscape of shadowy order emerged, in which conflicts forged new paths for night architects. Wars, those grand and terrible theaters of human ambition, had profound impacts on the nocturnal sculptor's craft. Just as armies moved under cloak of darkness for strategic advantage, so too did artisans adapt and innovate their nighttime practices to contend with the demands of war-torn times. Consider first the sieges that altered the cities of the Middle Ages in Europe. Fortifications were both necessary and urgent, as territories were ceaselessly contested. Under the safety of darkness, guilds of builders received instruction to reinforce city walls and towers that served as both shields and symbols of power. The architects of night deployed their skills to rapidly repair damage inflicted by the enemy's artillery during the day, while also improving defenses by star and torchlight. Moving eastward, the Mongolian invasions of the 13th century left their mark across the vast steppes and fortified cities of Eurasia. As the Golden Horde moved swiftly in their conquests, occupied settlements had to adapt quickly. Craftsmen and engineers worked feverishly at night to construct barriers, erect siege engines, and devise traps meant to withstand Mongol tactics. These efforts under low-light conditions fueled innovations in construction speed and safety, forever changing the nature of defensive architecture. Transitioning to the archipelago of Japan during the Sengoku period, the era of warring states, feudal lordships necessitated castles and fortifications that could withstand prolonged conflict. Night architects refined their craft amidst the constant threat of attack. Samurai architects leveraged quiet nocturnal hours to perfect the intricate designs of castles like Heimji. They incorporated innovative defensive features, such as stoneworks configured to confuse and ensnare invaders. The quiet working conditions made possible by night allowed planners to map designs that were both cunning and robust. Across the Mediterranean during the Crusades, the construction and reinforcement of holy city fortifications demanded constant attention from the night. Jerusalem, battered by a series of sieges, saw its defensive works molded under the moon. Those nights bore witness to the creation of bastions fortified against the persistent threat of renewed assault. Builders, adept at piecing together stone in nocturnal stillness, developed the knowledge necessary for effective emergency fortifications, a practice that soon extended throughout the region. In the New World, the tribes of Mesoamerica were compelled to adapt their structures in response to both environmental challenges and the conflict brought by the arrival of Spanish conquests. Mayan cities like Cholum witnessed nights filled with the sounds of construction and rebuilding. Craftspersons worked tirelessly to innovate with available resources, developing hidden pathways and underground storage spaces that nightlife offered, essential for both survival and resistance strategies. As societies confronted warfare, the artisans of nighttime answered by honing the intersection of strategy and creativity under starlight. Here, guilds evolved from quiet communal entities into the heart of resilience, forging a path forward amid chaos. Nighttime work became synonymous with survival. The need for rapid construction under the veil of secrecy and darkness brought about technical advancements, from improved stone-cutting techniques for speedier wall repairs to new methods of covert operation. These nocturnal architects bore the weight of war's consequences with resolve, revealing how the struggle and challenge carried during conflict also birthed advances for the craft. Innovation, though driven by necessity, expanded the potential of what could be achieved. As nation-states rose and fell, as siege engines rolled over landscapes, the enduring contributions of these artisans proved that even in dark significance, great creations emerged from the spirit of collective action. The night, once a sanctuary for such builders, became a theater for human tenacity under duress. As we step forward into another chapter, we explore how traditions and knowledge gleaned from these conflicts continue to enrich and redefine the legacy of nighttime construction, informing their influence on future alliances of artistry and advancement. In the darkness enveloping the vast landscapes and unknown terrains, explorers embarked on mysterious expeditions that often led them to unveil new worlds previously unimagined. They stepped into the night, guided by courage and curiosity, propelled by stars both above and the ones hidden in their ambitions. These were not merely journeys of distance, but of discovery, mapping the unseen corners of the world under the velvet blanket of night. The era of maritime exploration saw its heroes sailing into oceans cloaked in profound obscurity. Christopher Columbus, set against the gentle swell of the midnight seas, navigated his vessels into what would become known as the New World in 1492. Though bound by primitive maps and compasses, it was often the night sky that offered the most reliable guide. Stars served as the sailor's map, immovable and reliable amidst the unpredictable sea. Similarly, Vasco da Gama embarked on his perilous journey around the tip of Africa in the late 15th century. Night sailing was a necessity, as avoiding the harsh daytime storms and heat ensured safety and conserved resources. These nocturnal expeditions required a keen understanding of celestial navigation, a practice as old as exploration itself. Explorers honed their ability to steer their ships by Polaris, the North Star, ensuring their course remained true despite the darkness encircling them. On land, explorers of the dense tropics or the vast icy reaches were often guided by the night. As Alexander von Humboldt ventured into the jungles of South America in the early 1800s, his scientific zeal transformed his path through the ominous expanse into a mission of cataloging flora and fauna under the soft glow of bioluminescent wonders. Nighttime exploration revealed a different world, a hidden sphere of natural life that thrived without the sun's relentless glare. Further north, explorers like Captain Sir John Franklin, seeking the Northwest Passage through the icy clutches of the Arctic, turned to nighttime observation to navigate and survive. Torches reflected on glacial surfaces and maps drawn under the faint, reflective dancing of auroras. These sights were not only breathtaking but necessary for understanding the challenging terrain, framed not by the day's scope, but by the night's mystery. Beyond the bounds of the known world, explorers such as Lewis and Clark embarked on their famed journey across the United States in the early 1800s. Their expedition, spanning over 2 years, illuminated vast stretches of the continent long after dusk. Guided by indigenous knowledge, they navigated by the moonlight through vast plains and mountain ranges, compiling maps that would alter the conception of the American interior. First encounters with indigenous peoples also formed a vital aspect of these nocturnal expeditions. Though fraught with challenges, they opened channels of communication and exchange. On his voyages, Columbus encountered the Taino people, whose guides illuminated paths through unfamiliar landscapes. These initial contacts had complex legacies, shaping the cultures of explorers and those they met under the variegated cloak of night. This intertwining of discovery and encounter demonstrated that exploration often occurred in realms not bathed in sunlight's brightness, but in moments of shadow and luminescence. Nighttime offered opportunities that the day did not. Insights into the ecosystem at rest, strategic advantages for safe navigation, and extraordinary views crafted by the shadows and faint glimmers. The legacy of these moonlit wanderers laid the foundations for successive bouts of exploration, proving that innovation was not solely a child of daylight, but fostered by night's protection. Their stories tell of fear, overcome by knowledge, uncertainty rivaled by celestial confidence, and new worlds uncovered under the gentle guidance of stellar maps. As night descends on us even now, it carries with it the echoes of those who ventured forth with only the stars as their beacon, sculpting maps and legends beneath the wide and indulgent sky. As twilight enveloped the monuments scattered across the world, a subtle merging of legacy and influence spread its tendrils throughout the globe. These structures, born from the skilled hands of nighttime artisans, bore witness to centuries of craftsmanship perfected under the moon's gentle gaze. Each stood as a testifier to the indelible impact these midnight sculptors left upon history. First, consider the enveloping majesty of Egypt's pyramids. Once hearthstones of the wise kings, these mighty edifices preserved the soul of ancient civilization. Their daunting silhouette against the dusk sky stands testament not only to pharaohs, but to the dusk-dwelling artisans whose expertise in nocturnal craftsmanship facilitated such architectural feats. The passage of time only deepens their mark on our cultural heritage, inspiring modern architects and engineers to marry form with function in their own monumental works. Across the Aegean Sea, Greece's Acropolis crowns the night with its enduring allure. The Parthenon, an icon of classical eminence, drew upon techniques honed during evening hours, when creative intuition thrived apart from daylight distractions. These structures, products of meticulous nocturnal labor, influenced Western architectural styles profoundly, instilling ideals of symmetry, proportion, and perspective that redefined global architectural pursuits. The weight of legacy is felt too in the silent grace of China's ancient structures, where the influence of Han Dynasty technicians stretches across modern engineering principles. The artisans' intricate jade carvings made under night's tranquility led to an aesthetic of delicate precision and enduring beauty. Their bronze casting techniques, perfected at cooler temperatures under star-filled sky, would ripple through centuries, informing metalwork and decorative arts worldwide. Europe and Asia's medieval guilds nurtured this legacy, propagating networks of skill and tradition across boundaries. Their incorporation of nighttime work into complex societal systems fostered artistic exchange on the Silk Road, enriching cross-cultural fertilization that allowed Europe and Asia to flourish culturally and economically. By Moonlight, craftsmen forged masterpieces that became storied emblems of power and artistry, tracking pathways through an interconnected world. By contrast, the enduring stone circles of Celtic landscapes like Stonehenge linked not only with the sun, but with lunar cycles as well. These prehistoric constructs, unified under the moon's pull, inform contemporary understandings of solar and lunar symbiosis in architecture. Their placements, designed with cosmic precision, serve as reminders that our earliest builders saw themselves as part of a celestial narrative, shaping spaces in rhythm with the stars. In South America, Machu Picchu rises from its misty perch under the stars as a paramount example of indigenous wisdom aligned with astronomical insights. The quarrying and careful placement of each stone, a task completed alongside the chill breezes of the Andes, integrated celestial dimensions that ensured the citadel's endurance. The influence of these methods is palpable in modern sustainable practices that push for harmonization with natural terrain and climate. Such monuments, illuminated by knowledge handed down by night workers, sculpt the landscape of human progress. These edifices, wellsprings of inspiration, encapsulate the convergence of art and science, with influences that ripple through time to inform and enrich contemporary practices across the globe. Let their silent watch guide you into the inertia of a world suspended between day and night, as we next explore the nocturnal whispers that bind these influences into the broader quilt of human development. In the fade of twilight, a story of decline begins to unfold. The once proud nocturnal guilds, masters of their craft under the moon's gentle gaze, started to lose their foothold in a rapidly evolving world. The night sculptors, who had defined the sky-etched silhouettes of magnificent monuments and had long shaped the cultural fabric of societies, found themselves at the brink of obscurity as the threads of history wove a tapestry of change. As the Industrial Revolution dawned in the 18th and 19th centuries, monumental shifts in work practices began to occur. The emergence of mechanized production, driven by steam power and burgeoning factories, drastically altered traditional crafts. Workshops that echoed with the solitary sounds of hammers and chisels under night's cover steadily transformed into bustling sites of mass production. Advancements in lighting technology posed yet another challenge. The invention of gas lighting and later, electricity brought illumination to city streets and workspaces. Tasks that were once reserved for the dusk or depended on the artistry of torchlit hands could now be executed with efficiency and speed at any hour of the day. The advantage of working under moonlight, previously cherished for its serene focus, started to diminish under the artificial brightness that banished the necessity for nocturnal labor. In urban centers across Europe and America, as factories and infrastructures expanded, the intimate guilds suffered. They were gradually replaced by larger, more impersonal organizations focused on standardized output rather than bespoke artistry. The individual artisan, who once thrived in the supportive, secretive socioeconomic structures of guilds, was often sidelined, transitioning into labor roles that prioritized repetition over innovation. Societal perceptions also shifted. By the mid-19th century, as ideas of progress and efficiency took root, the romantic lure traditionally associated with trades where the mysteries of night-sculpted monuments became less relevant. Public works were increasingly seen as manifestations of economic power and modern engineering. Art and architecture anchored in spiritual and celestial alignment, nurtured during quieter hours, gave way to pragmatic and functional designs driven by daylight productivity. An example of this transition lies in the disappearance of dedicated temple building as state patronage decreased in favor of secular public works. The harmonious construction of ancient sanctuaries that had taken cues from celestial bodies was supplanted by utilitarian infrastructure, spanning bridges, vast railroads, and industrial complexes that defined burgeoning urban environments. Additionally, education shifted towards institutionalized forms and away from the apprenticeship models that had anchored guild teachings for centuries. The intricate, often clandestine knowledge transferred within guild hierarchies struggled to sustain themselves within modern schools and academies devoted to formalized curricula. Yet, even as the prominence of the night sculptors' role dimmed, their influence lingered quietly. In the towns built on their monumental backdrops, in the folklore and stories handed down, the imprint of their craft remained, acknowledged not in elaborate guild halls but in the earth and stone supporting modern cities. While the age of modernity eclipsed the need for nocturnal guilds, it also preserved their legacy, repurposing the mastery and adaptability developed within those shadowy corridors into a new era. This decline, bittersweet as it was, stands as a testament to the resilience and evolution embedded in humanity's relentless pursuit of creation. As we draw another thread through time, the decline of night sculptors ushers in an understanding of transformation, a forward momentum bearing past wisdom into future innovation. As we drift deeper into the serene embrace of nighttime artistry, let's explore a world where the remnants of nocturnal sculpture linger, often forgotten and enveloped in myth and mystery. These ruins, mute witnesses of past magnificence, are scattered across the landscapes, hinting at the stories of the artisans who once breathed life into them under the moon. In the heartland of Anatolia, the remnants of Göbekli Tepe lie cloaked beneath a veil of time. This architectural marvel, dating back more than 11,000 years, was erected long before the invention of metal tools or pottery. It stands as a testament to the ingenuity of its creators, artisans who might have sculpted intricate carvings under the silvery glow of the lunar orb. While the exact rituals and reasons behind its construction remain largely speculative, this site's ancient stones whisper tales of early man's awe for the celestial. Venture further west to the Mediterranean shoreline, where the ruins of ancient Carthage crumbled after Rome's conquest. Among these echoes of civilization, traces of stone carvings and half-formed sculptures emerge, evidencing the night labor that took place. As day ceded to evening, Carthaginian craftsmen used the cover of darkness to carve into stone tributes to their gods. Chisel marks on unearthed fragments reflect the calm dedication of these artisans who transformed soft limestone into sacred forms. Meanwhile, the statues of Easter Island, the enigmatic Moai, stand solemnly facing inland, shadows of giants marked by unsuspecting stargazers who crafted them. Although daytime labor played a significant role in their construction, tales insist that the positioning and fine detailing often took place under the guidance of the night. The alignment of these monolithic heads with celestial bodies suggests that the artisans who shaped them were also mindful of the night sky, drawing inspiration and guidance from their cosmic patrons. Journey westward to the forgotten city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, where the pyramids of the sun and moon invite the question of nocturnal creation. Excavations indicate that moonlight may have guided the placement and construction of these pyramids, designed in harmony with astronomical alignments of their time. Surveying the terrain adjacent to these ancient buildings reveals terraces and foundations, suggesting newer constructions intended to be illuminated by celestially derived knowledge stretching shadows over entire city blocks. Over in Asia, near the ancient trails that connect the Silk Road, lies the abandoned city of Ganwariwala in present-day Pakistan. Artisans here carefully conducted their work during the cooler nocturnal hours, carving seals and structures in sync with the sounds of nighttime shifting desert sands. The moon's gentle illumination provided these sculptors with the peace necessary to craft without the distortions caused by harsh sunlight, leaving behind legacies in earthen hues and tactile shapes. Though the sands of time have all but buried these glimpses into history, the allure of nocturnal sculpting survives, an intricate pattern threaded with secrecy and profound artistry. These ruins, standing quietly in the wilds of our planet, remind us of the enduring nature of creativity, whispering tales of a world that once created marvels under star-stitched skies. As the moon casts its glow once more, casting shadows over these ancient remains, the legacy of those hidden guilds perpetuates quietly, enchanting future generations with dreams of the hidden beauty that once thrived under the shelter of night. Thus, these remnants linger, whispering stories of human endeavor, inviting us to marvel at the bonds between mankind and the celestial muse. In a world where lights now dance across cityscapes long after sunset, the indelible legacy of midnight monuments quietly endures. These structures and their creators resonate in modern consciousness, informing our understanding of art, architecture, and human endeavor. As we meander through contemporary reflections on this legacy, we are reminded of the enduring influence and timeless significance of nocturnal craftsmanship. Consider the manner in which iconic structures, shaped by starlit hands, inspire present-day architects and artists. The pyramids of Egypt, with their perfect geometric alignment and enduring grandeur, continue to inform today's architectural innovations. Modern architects often look to ancient techniques, such as the stone cutting methods perfected under the desert's cooler nights, as they seek sustainable practices that marry nature with human innovation. Similarly, the precision and balance of Greek temples, which found shape in moonlit hours, underpin today's reliance on symmetry and form in public spaces and art installations. The legacy of these ancient artisans, who carved their legends into stone while the world slept, influences urban aesthetics and civic design worldwide, balancing historical reverence with contemporary necessity. In China, the meticulous bronze and jade artistry of the Han Dynasty resonates within the cultural artistry of today. Modern artisans take cues from these ancient techniques, adapting traditional skills to craft objects that blend cultural heritage with modern technology, ensuring the cyclical continuation of craftsmanship in an ever-evolving world. Indeed, today's sculptors and craftsmen, though now often aided by technology, are heirs to the inquisitiveness and devotion of midnight artisans. Many still find inspiration in working during the tranquil hours, when the outside world pauses, providing a space where creativity flows with less interruption. The concept of night as a creative sanctuary remains influential, underscoring the peaceful solitude that has always been crucial to artistic expression. Artists and architects alike draw from the past's silent teachings. They adapt the aesthetics of Gothic arches and the intricacies of Eastern temple carvings into modern expressions, forging timeless connections between ancient practices and innovative futures. This blending not only pays homage to the pathfinders of the past, but also infuses today's creations with the richness of historical context. Moreover, with the increasing emphasis on sustainable and eco-friendly building practices, there is much to learn from the resource-efficient techniques of ancient artisans who maximized their materials in the softer light of the moon. The night offered a stage free from the constraints of harsher environmental conditions, encouraging efficient workmanship. As urban planners today confront the reality of expanding cities and environmental demands, they look to history's nocturnal workers for insights into building harmony with natural landscapes. The positioning of stone and careful alignment with natural sites, as seen in places like Machu Picchu, serve as a blueprint for architects seeking to honor the Earth's natural contours. Ultimately, the legacy of midnight monuments serves as a reminder of humanity's enduring connection with the cosmos and the peaceful resilience that night imbues in human creativity. From grand public structures to intimate pieces of art, the silent echo of these past builders continues to shape our cultural landscape. Their stories and techniques, once crafted under the cover of darkness, are weaved into the light of today's artistic, architectural, and societal endeavors. Through this journey, we have seen how the art of night, honed under stars, grows into an era where both creativity and survival found form and function. The echoes of soft chiseling and the glow of ancient torches may seem distant, yet they form a timeless continuum, inspiring those who lay the foundations of new horizons under our present night skies. In the calm and quiet of the night, as the world slowed to a tranquil pace, ancient builders gathered once more under the vast expanse of stars. These whispering stones represented the culmination of untold hours of labor, each chisel mark and carved surface a testimony to the tireless dedication of artisans who thrived under the moonlit sky. As evening transitioned into the deeper shades of night, their focus honed sharply, elevations transformed into monumental timekeepers poised between earth and heaven. History is peppered with these monolithic wonders, sculpted by hands that never tired of the night's embrace. Journey first to the lands of the early Celts. Here, stone circles and standing stones dotted the landscape, markers of spiritual sanctity and cosmic observatories. Stonehenge, with legends wrapped around its very essence, is one such edifice. Each rock was not merely hewn and placed, but aligned with celestial purposes beyond simple imagination. Night work provided the stillness required for such precision, the stars above acting as witnesses and guides, each alignment carefully orchestrated to reflect lunar cycles. Venturing to the Andes, where the Incas' creative mastery wove through stones like silver threads through Andean textiles, Machu Picchu stands perched, cradling hills and sky. The methodology of fitting stones so precisely, without mortar, echoed the Incas' deep understanding of astral impacts on terrestrial stability. Their talent lay not just in constructing an abode, but creating a harmonious bond between the mountains and the sky. Across the Pacific, in Japan, we find temples sporting spiritual elegance and balanced craft, their designs nodding to night philosophy, the purity of structure crafted beneath the celestial roof. Temples like those at Ise Shrine are constructed with due honor to the Starlit guidance, fulfilling the twin roles of devotion and architectural mastery. The archaic guilds, descendants of these night whispers, carried forth through change and turmoil, their echoes still touching our modern experience. In ancient craft, echoes of a nighttime artistry melded equilibrium with cosmos, translating celestial balance into an earthly language of stone and form. This quiet dedication not only paid homage to those celestial forebearers, but laid tracks for the future innovations we see today. As dusk united these creations with a reassuring gentleness, each monument whispered back lessons of tenacity and wonder. Merged crescents of stone shadows etched continuity, reverberating in today's architectural pursuits that aim to harmonize human endeavor with natural beauty. Evening endowed these structures with stillness, a quiet that rebuffs the urgency and chaos typically associated with the day's toil. And so, these whispering stones, etched and polished in outlines borrowed from the night sky, held stories of yore, the memories of labor cloaked in shadows and hallowed by moonlit majesties. The silent dialogues between artisan and cosmos draped each monolith in mystique, narratives divulged only to those who care to linger, to listen closely as the stones bear witness. Beyond stones lies the unspoken promise that the eternal bond between human creativity and the nocturnal muse remains, underpinning the art of creation with whispers of eras past.